Hi, I'm Leonard Scott Collins, and I'm an out-of-work actor, so I'm going to try to make money doing yoga on the internet. Welcome now to section 3 of the wonderful new program, Make Money Doing Yoga on the Internet with me, Leonard Scott Collins. So in this section, we're going to focus on hips and hamstrings, getting a lot of space in the lower body, and I'm excited about it because baseline, it's more down dogs, it's forward folds, it's wide angle poses. You could throw your pigeons in there because that's a different kind of movement. But this is where yoga really shines. There's a lot of weird shapes you can make. And it's just really a lot of fun to work these muscle groups in yoga. So we're going to start with really basic stuff, and by next week, man, it's going to be bonkers. We're going to be doing almost exclusively poses that nobody can get into. I can't wait for it. Today what I want to do, I have a little bit of sciatic pain sometimes. I have a hard time sleeping. So today what I want to do is just show you the way I stretch at night when my legs are bothering me. And it's not really a pain that I experience, but it's kind of it's just a tightness, a general awareness of my legs and feet that's very, very distracting and keeps me from resting. And so I think a big part of what that is that the muscles of the buttocks are holding tension and pressing on some of those nerves, the roots of some of the long muscles that go down into the thigh, and causing that tension to spread down the backs of the legs and into the soles of the feet. I'm just going to show you maybe 3 things today that can help with that, and then if you don't have sciatic pain, it's on mission because we're doing hips and hamstrings today, or this whole section. So this is a good way to start there. Now what I want you to do is find a wall to be against and rest your sit bones back against the wall. For this, your legs don't need to be absolutely straight. I have almost this much bend in the knee when I'm doing this type of work. Knees together, ankles together. The reason I'm bending my knees is to facilitate a little bit more of a pitch forward with the hips, because when I straighten my knees, you see my back comes kind of up, but if I bend my knees, I can get my spine to come up out of the hips, and I can fall along over the toes. And if we want to make progress in our stretch, it's not about going through the poses the way we've been doing in the previous sections. It's about really spending time in the poses and allowing your body to get used to being there, so that you become aware of little pockets of muscle holding, and you don't even have to do anything consciously. Those little pockets of muscle holding will release once they realize they don't need to be there.
And as those little pockets of muscle holding release, there's going to be a fear that wells up in you that you're going to hurt yourself, that maybe those muscle holdings were protecting joints or ligaments or subtle things. And so you get this gradual realization that your body is strong enough to do it without panic. So that's what we're aiming for today. And in order to facilitate that, I'm going to stay down here, really relaxed through the head, relaxed through the hands, arms as much as I can, for 60 breaths. And I want to encourage you to get into this pose and be here with me. For this entire time. Really see what it's like to practice asana in this way. That was 10, so we've got 50 more. Try not to move around. Don't allow yourself to escape. Let any gains you make come naturally by just resting further down into the thighs. You shouldn't even be speaking here, but I'm trying to keep you entertained as well. Do a little soft shoe or something. Man, I'm really feeling something in the back of my right calf that I don't usually feel when I do this stretch. See how far away from the wall my feet are? This is to make sure that I can actually, a little bit, rest back. That's 30 breaths. We're halfway there. If you want, you can start thinking about straightening the legs on the inhale and relaxing on the exhale the way we've done with our downward dog. If you're noticing, if you're holding flex in the kneecaps, you can relax there too.
Only 15 more to go. That little curl I'm doing is to straighten my back. Make sure I'm coming up and out, not just pushing down and forward. Now I'm starting to feel it. These muscles twisting outwards around the outside of the thigh. Pushing my generative organs back, opening up through the buttocks. That's what I want. Ten breaths left. Really, with these last 3 breaths, try to relax. Every exhale, open across the lower back. Really let your torso hang down. You might feel pulling through this, feel the shoulders start to fall down, and the neck start to fall down. And now, without coming out, walk your hands forward into your downward dog. Come out. We'll just spend 3 breaths here. Try to think about straightening the legs. Oh. And now come forward with one leg. Into a pigeon pose. Now see this bend in my front knee here means that my calf is coming across my body so that my left foot is somewhere in front of my right hip. And what you want to get is enough opening through the top of the right thigh, and again continuing working through the back of the left thigh and through the left buttock there. So that your pelvic bowl drops straight down towards the floor. And you want your pelvic bowl fairly even. So you're not coming down this way or swaying out this way. It should be the sense of coming down evenly between the hips. Now when you carry through with pigeon, you do things like pop the back knee, bend the back knee to pop the foot up. You do things like lengthen up through the spine so that you can raise your hands or reach back and grab that foot as it pops up. We really shouldn't be doing too much of that stuff until the pelvic bowl is resting on the floor. Later this week I'll bring a bolster in so that I can be supported and try to show some of that stuff. I mean, I don't feel unsafe just bending this knee. It does add quite a lot. But
want to be focusing on relaxing through the pelvis, really just allowing progress 1/8 of an inch at a time. Coming down and down and down and down. So doing those other fancy things is going to be disruptive. And to come out, bend the back toes under and come back up into a downward dog. So the right leg I'll do towards you. Let's come up into a down dog again. Work on straightening those back legs. Let the shoulders relax and come up the back. Press here. And then bring the right leg forward. Now what I want you to see from this angle is the shape of the right knee. How it's coming this way across my body. That's giving us a pivot in the hip. Giving us some opening, a different shape for our opening in the pelvis than we're getting in our forward fold or wide angle pose or even our warriors or runner's stretch where we're coming forward and the legs are wide like this. It's that rolling. When we're doing our forward fold, the rolling was coming this way, opening up the buttocks, and now we're going this way, the rolling's coming this way, pulling it out from under the groin. I don't usually count breaths here. What I wait for is a change in the flow of blood through the bottom of my foot. A sense of comfort. Maybe a cool, bubbling sensation or a breeziness. You know what it's like when you've been clenching your fist for a while and then suddenly you relax your hand. You feel the way the blood changes. That's what I wait for on each side with this pose. I don't know for sure what it'll be for you, but for me, the sole of the foot is the key for this posture. And when I feel that comfort in the sole of the foot, I know I've made the progress I need to make for the day. If I'm having trouble sleeping because of muscle body tension, especially if I've been having trouble sleeping for a long time, it's 1:30 in the morning or something, I don't want to get out of bed and do stretches, but if I do take the time to do these few little movements, even just one of these, choose the forward fold or the pigeon on each leg. When I do go have a glass of water and go back to bed, I get to sleep immediately.
And the last one is supported wide angle pose from sitting. And supported because, again, if you're not open through the hips where you can relax forward, if you're slumping back like this, if that's the most vertical you can get, you're engaging all this muscle structure up through here, down through here, to try to keep upright. And we are going to work on that. But another way to do it is to have some support. So that your skeletal structure is locked into place and you're just allowing the muscles to get used to learning what they need to do in order to hold this position comfortably. Now the other two poses, the forward fold and the pigeon, were passive. And this one I'm trying to make as passive as possible, that you can just stay here and accept the deepening as it comes. But you're going to have to do a little bit of activity as you find the release start to come through the inner thigh. A little bit of activity to just titch those feet a bit further apart. Keep the legs here absolutely straight and the knees pointing up to the ceiling. Now again, if you have enough relaxation in your hips that your spine actually comes up out of your hips and that your weight, your body weight, can help you relax forward, then maybe
You want to allow that. Let your weight bring you forward without collapsing here. Leave those knees pointing up, but let your weight, just like in the forward fold, start to bring you forward. I'm going to spend a few more moments in this pose, unsupported, although I wouldn't do that at night. A few more moments in this pose unsupported, because I've done so much hip opening now in the last 20 minutes with you guys, that I think I can actually allow some of my weight to bring me forward. So what I'm doing is reaching into my pockets. I have deep pockets in these track pants. I'm pulling the meat of my buttocks out, away from my perineum, so that my sit bones get down onto the floor. Then I'm gonna just gently, I'm not really pulling here. I'm not yanking here. I'm just gently moving myself into position. Straighten these legs. And yeah, see, If I reach the arms forward at least, I can get some sense of coming down. A variation of this is our triangle pose, right? The feet would be pointed in a direction and one arm would be going towards the instep. It's slightly different for the hips.
Okay. So, those are our 3 gentle movements you can do for, well, the movements aren't that gentle, but if you approach them gently, as I've just shown you, you can take yourself pretty far with this hip opening and hamstring lengthening, the roll of the buttock, open and around, tops of the thighs shifting. You're starting to feel what it's like to limber up this whole large, heavy, powerful muscle group that's so susceptible to tension holding and to injury and a muscle group that we really have the instinct to try to protect. And these 3 movements will help you protect this section, the glutes, the groin, the tops of the thighs. You'll experience a softening, a lengthening, and an easing through this whole midsection. And then this is what we're going to keep working with through the next 2 weeks, doing progressively harder and more involved poses. But even just these 3 basics, if you add them to your day, you'll feel a big change fairly quickly. Thanks very much for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow.